us at Cynon Taff, the Renting Homes Act represents a really big opportunity for us to improve our services and to do things a little bit differently. There is going to be some hard work that we've already been doing, and we'll have to continue for the next year or so at least to make sure that we're in line with all areas of the Act. But it does represent a real opportunity for us to review some of the policies and procedures that we've got in our core services and improve and do things differently and better for our tenants going forward. Corporately, there are going to be some big changes. The legislation requires us to give tenants 2 months' notice around any rent uplift. And for that means that we need to be more organised and we need to do things slightly earlier when we talk about business planning, budget setting, and all that kind of corporate planning that we do every single year. That is quite a big challenge for us as a small organisation, but this year we've already made improvements about how we do that work, and obviously every year we're going to learn from that. I think for the core services of the organisation, the biggest change will be, and that's around housing management, and it's around repairs and maintenance and how we manage our assets. If we're talking about our housing management, some of our policies and procedures will have to change to accommodate changes to the contract that we're going to be delivering with tenants now. So changes around how we manage antisocial behaviour in our communities, how we do successions, how we do mutual exchanges, how we work with our supported housing providers is all going to change because the legislation requires different things from us, so that we can make sure that our tenants have got the best experience going forward. But we've worked really, really hard within the housing team to make sure our policies and procedures are in line with the Act. We've used solicitors to make sure that all our contracts are legally agreed, and we've worked excellently with other organisations in our consortium of 5 housing associations to work jointly on the things that really matter. So I think it's a moment to be really proud of everything that we've achieved. And obviously staff are going to be trained really well. So I'm really confident that everybody is going to know exactly what they're doing as time goes on. It's going to be a big learning curve, but we'll all get there together. And the same on the property side. The fitness for human habitation is a real challenge for us. You know, our properties aren't necessarily going to be easy to get up to that standard at all times, based on the fact of where they are, the type of properties they are, and the levels of investment that we've been able to put into them over the years. But this legislation gives us a real focus for doing things better and doing things differently. And again, there are going to be changes to policies and procedures that the team will need to get used to. We're going to be doing a lot more inspections. We're going to be using our stock condition set data a lot better than we probably have in the past to make sure that every tenancy is not only fit for human habitation, but is able to be decarbonised to meet the Welsh Housing Quality Standard in a way that before we weren't able to do. So the focus for us as an organisation and the training and the changes to our policies and procedures have been big, but we've not only worked internally really well as a team, but we've worked with 5 other organisations to make sure that we are doing the same best practice work, but we're learning from others. And this will continue for at least the next 2 to 3 years, where we learn more about the legislation and get better and better and better at responding to it. We're as ready as we possibly can be. We have done a huge amount of work with our consortium partners and with a project manager who works across the 5 organisations, but also internally with our teams to make sure that we are ready to go. We have worked on our policies and procedures around housing management. We've worked on our policies and procedures in our assets teams. We have looked at our contracts and whether they're legally binding. We've looked at how we communicate with our tenants and our staff internally, and we're going to be putting forward training packages for absolutely everybody. We've got a first tranche starting really shortly, but as new staff come on board with us and we have new starters, we're looking at how we manage that process and rolling it out on an annual basis, because the Act, even though it will be in place, is going to evolve. It's going to change the way that we work, and we're going to learn lessons along the way, and we're all in it together. There is a huge amount of uncertainty for the sector for doing this, but I think the sector is ready for it because it's taken such a long time for it to come in. We know why the Welsh Government has legislated for it. We know what they're trying to achieve, and we understand that that fits in line with our values, but it's going to be a bit of a challenge. I think stick with it. Any questions that you've got, you can ask the senior management team, you can ask your team leaders and your managers. We're all going to help all of us together. We're not going to know all the answers because we're still learning, but we'll know where to go to get them. And if we can't find that information internally, we've got a consortium of 5 who can all work together on some of the similar issues. We're going to continue to work with the consortium around issues like disrepair and fitness for human habitation. And we're also going to use our peer support around our supported housing and our policies and procedures in housing management. We've come too far as a consortium to stop working as a group of 5 now. In the first instance, where you would go for support is your line manager, or talk about the issues across your teams. We all need to get together and collaborate. We all need to discuss stuff because that's where the best ideas come from. And then as a team, as an organisation, we're going to learn together, and we're going to support other teams across the organisation to do that as well. We're going to continue with the consortium approach so we can ask questions, we can share good practice, certainly around disrepair and certainly around some of the housing management issues that we've got. But I think that we are ready, and as a result, we are going to not only be stronger as a social landlord and be part of that picture for social landlords across Wales, but our tenants at Cynon are going to get a much better experience of being a tenant.